Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the stream. Welcome to yet another episode working on this guy right here. That is the P-51 or F-51D Mustang 1/32 scale by Tamiya. So let's just get started, shall we? This thing's been sitting on my desk here for almost a week, and I've got a lot of little details done to it for the cockpit, and I want to get this finally put together today. In spite of the fact I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, got a little bit of a cold, but I'm doing okay, so I just want to get this done because it's been sitting here. And so, yeah, it's sitting here, it's waiting for me, and I'm going to finally, hopefully, get this thing finished and get the cockpit assembled, at least for, the most part. We'll try and get this done today. Let me change the camera here for you, and you can see kind of what I'll go through what I've been doing and what I got done. Okay, so this is the main cockpit floor. I've installed the main control stick there, and in the middle there I've got my chipped up wood green finish done there. Let me see if I can get this camera to focus like it should for you, and see if we can get this thing going here. Let's try this here. Okay, if we can get this thing to focus in on there. Focus, please. There we go. So there's our wood green floor. You can see it's chipped up. I know in a lot of planes it's really a lot more, there's going to be a lot more chipping going on in that, but yeah. Come on, camera. There you go. Let's see. We have our seat, our pilot seat here, with the paint all chipped up, showing it there, and of course we have my little seat cushion that I'm going to plop in right there. Okay, that of course is in place of this little rectangular piece of plastic that Tamiya tried to make as a seat cushion, right? So we're going to chuck that. That's no good to me. Okay, I've got the side panels done. If this would focus, there we go. Come on, focus on the right part, please. There we go. Sort of. Yeah. There's that. Okay. I added a few little wires. You can notice this wire sticking off there. A couple little wires going on the bottom. I added those just for a little extra detail. Go to the other side. This one here. This one's done now. Sorry, with the camera's not really wanting to focus properly. There we go. So this side's done. Okay, and of course you've already seen the instrument cluster. This is already done. You've seen this already too, so yeah. Okay, I have the seat back is already done. That's painted with the head cushion there. That's finished too. Okay, so we're gonna put these all together, and we will get these started in the actual assembly. So the first thing I need to do is get this guy glued in there. So I'm not sure about the regular model glue with the putty, if that will actually work. So I'm going to use some CA glue. And we will use some CA glue to get this guy glued in there. Not quite sure how much or how little I'm going to need, but basically just going to sit just like that. And there's our cushion. Seat cushion installed. So next we need to put in the seat belts themselves, which I have hiding underneath everything. So my desk is a bit cluttered with all these parts. There's the seat belts. I did paint them. I painted the seat belts. As you can tell, they're not just silver anymore. I got my other two, the two lap belts here. One and two. Okay. So, because it's a little bit more intricate, I'm going to get my other glasses out here so that I can see. Okay. Seat cushion seems to be sticking, so that tells me, oh, maybe not. Maybe not. It really only stuck at that one spot, so let's just put a little more glue. Okay. There we go. Okay, so they have this little tiny, they've got a little tiny nub sticking out right in the middle there. If you can see right where I'm pointing with the tweezers, right there. And that's where they want this little hole for the belts to attach. Right there is where they want it to go. So put a little bit of glue around it. And do that. Now I think in this case I'll grab my accelerator just to help it along a little bit here. I want this to be secure on there really nice. Doesn't really matter if you get messy with it on this side because this part is never going to be seen, right? So you don't have to worry about it. Get a little dab, there we go. How's my cushion? Cushion still doesn't want to stick at the top, so I need to just kind of put some glue. It doesn't want to stick. Doesn't want to stick, which tells me I'm not putting enough glue. That's kind of the problem with the thin glue. Okay, now let's try. That's definitely a more positive securing there. So that should do it. That ought to do it now. Okay, so with that in, I want to drape my belts down over. I'm holding it with my fingers so it don't put any pressure that I don't really want. Now, if you just do it like this and you put the belts down like that, you're going to get some unrealistic looking belts. So you want to have it actually look like it's draping a little bit as it goes over here, right? So I'm just pressing with my fingernail in there. And now I'll bend them down over. I don't want it hooking, so I'm going to take my tweezers and just bend it a little bit here. And bend it a little bit here. To get them to conform a little bit. There we go. And I'm just going to push it down to simulate weight. There we go. So I do want to glue them down here because I don't think it's realistic that they'd be draping and hanging out like that. I think going straight down would be more realistic in like that. So I'm going to glue them to the cushion one at a time. This. Just like that. Get in under this one also. Like that. Okay. There's that. Now we have our side belts. They want these. They want the one loop. Let's see. It's going to be this loop here, one with the little kind of a little bit of a circle, a little loop on it. They go on. They want them attached down here on each side, and then going over. So I can understand why they actually tell you to put these cross braces on after, because the belt's got to go through underneath of these, which, because I put them on there before, now I've got a little bit of an issue, right? Because I have to fish them through underneath like this, right? But that's not the end of the world. I can actually just leave that like this while I put some glue onto our spot. That and accelerator, get rid of some of the excess. There we go. So that's one belt glued in. Now obviously I need to convince it to lay down. So I want to twist it. There we go. And conform it to the seat. Like that. I'm going to glue it down also, because it should not be floating in the air. Right? That's just weird. Belts that have weight to them should not be floating in the air. Of course, finding the sweet spot whether it connects to something underneath is a whole other story. There we go. Oh, I had it. Ah, come on. There we go. We got it. Okay. So, next belt. Final one. Take this and I'll fish it through like so, just so it's kind of sitting in there. So that one's on. So I want to do the same kind of thing. So I want to keep pressure right there so I don't accidentally break it off the glue. So I need to twist to get it to conform. There's not a lot of room on this side the way I've made that cushion. There we go. So this one, I don't think I need to glue to hold it down. It's conformed pretty good into that little spot, right? And so, yeah, just a little bit of weathering, and that'll look fine. And so what I'm going to do is, for the weathering, I'll use the Tamiya panel line accent color, the brown. And just kind of, just a little bit in there. I don't want to go crazy with it. Just to give it a little bit of contrast so the belt doesn't seem quite so bright and new. Like that. And then kind of wash this away a little bit. And there we go. A little bit of dirtiness. Yeah, so it doesn't look quite so new. All right, so that's done. Okay, our cushion's on, our belts are in. Now we can focus on the seat back. So we have this. We have this one. So you need, it's got a little notch here, right there where you can see where I haven't really painted it. And that's going to slide in just underneath there like this. Like that. Right? So, let's put this away. And the photo etch is done, so I can put that away. Okay, so let's get some glue. And I'll put it on the back here. Just a little dab is all I need. Don't need a lot. And we're going to slide in like this. Just like that. Okay. Now these two little arms, we're going to glue those. I'm going to glue those to the back here to make sure they're seated in and they're not loose. See, this one's not touching at all, so we got to make sure that stays. So I'll get my extra thin. While I'm holding it, just do that. And I'll do the same on this side, like that. And just hold it for a second or 3. It looks like I've got a couple of decals I'm supposed to put on each top corner. Number 80 on the decals. Oh, didn't stick. Let's try again. Glue just ran down everywhere. This side does not want to stick. Come on. So, if I'm going to find their decals, I think I have them pulled out of the box already. Let's see if I can find number 80 on the decal sheet. 85, 80. These two right there. Which means I'm going to need some water. Okay, this piece is being very stubborn. So I'm going to do this. Okay, you can sit for a minute on your own. I'm going to get some water and I'll be right back. have some water. We can get our two little decals. So to be a little careful here, I'm cutting them out. Okay. So they got to go here and here in these two top corners, just right at the top there. Now I've already assembled this part. I've got the headrest on, okay, and then this photo etch piece that goes on the back, that you can see that silver guy right there, right, and then this little guy here, that guy goes over top of the photo etch. So I've got that installed already, okay, and that's just that. Now they tell you to paint over the photo etch, and I thought, well, this kind of, I don't know, I want to keep it like that and just keep it silver and give it that little bit of a pop that there's something back there. You're not really going to see it when it's in the cockpit, right, because it's going to sit like this, right? You're not going to see it very much, so I figured I might as well leave it just so that you do see there's something different there. My decals are able to move on the paper now, so I'll do this one first. Hey, this guy's finally sticking. How about that? There we go. Okay, decals are on. Where are you going? Get back here. Now I do have my Mark Fit Super Strong that I like to use to help decals stay in place. Especially when they get to a point where maybe they're almost dry by the time I put them in their spot. That stuff helps a lot. Okay, so decals are on. So now we can put the seat in. The seat has this notch in the back here where you can see this gray square, and that's going to go right over top of that. So it just kind of lines up just kind of like that, and it just kind of sits in its spot. Nice and happy. So nice big glob of glue. And there you go. Just like so. As long as I don't move it around too much, it'll be fine. It is a bit of a tight fit, so you want to make sure it's pressed down on there. And there you go. Just like so. Of course, it's not wanting to stay just like so, it wants to pull up. So I just press a little harder to get her to sit. You can kind of tell along this little line here if you've got it seated properly. If you can't see anything through there, if you've got nothing to see, then it's sitting properly. That's your telltale sign. Okay. So there you go. There's the seat. This is done, which means this page is done. So we can flip the page and see what we got going on. I'm just going to move this over here. Next, we have the radio. Okay. Now I have these pieces already assembled. Okay. And that's this and this. Okay. It's already done. It's already assembled. Okay. Now, the instructions tell you to take the two little nubs that are off of this on this side and cut them off and leave the ones that are on this side. So that's what I've got done. So I've taken them off of that side there and I've left these ones. Okay. This one is just assemble these two sides onto this piece here, and then you put this face onto that, and that's all that is. And then you paint it. This one's aluminum, this one's black, and that's what you got here. And then you just put the one on the top. That's really all there is to it. Okay. And then you have this. I've put my the lid on there. Boom. But of course I had the stuff from Red Fox Studios. So that's why this one looks a little fancy, right? So that's these two. And they got to go on to this little tree here. This is D47, and you got to cut this little peg off of it, right? I'm doing the C version of the plane, not the B, which is why I have this all scribbled out so I don't accidentally build it like this, right? So there's a bunch of parts you don't use, right? So I'm doing this version, so I need that. But I got to get my D47. So D47. This guy here, I have it already painted. So okay, so we have this. So this guy's got to go on in this direction. We have our two little pegs going into these holes, just like this. Ah. Try this again. Now that's on there. Okay. And then this guy goes right beside him. Our two little nubs here go through those two holes there. Just like so. Alright, that's that. Okay, now next on our block, so that's all done. This is finished now. So we're going back to our main thing. So when we get to this guy, I've already put this piece on, and this piece, and that's that right there and there. Okay. I've already got the flight stick installed, along with this little piece that goes right there. That's installed there, and so that's all done. Next, we just got to put the seat in. So we'll put the seat in. The seat, in theory, just gonna slide in right here. I might have to strip some of the paint off, so I'm gonna do that. I want a good fit. Sometimes you got to scrape your paint off because you've got it on too thick and it just doesn't want to fit in there. And as you guys know, you can see I've got multiple layers, right? I started with primer and then silver and then the green. And those layers, they add up and change the thickness. And then of course in here I've got silver, then green, and then the black. Some of you guys might be wondering, why are you painting it all black? Every cockpit I've seen of the P-51's Mustangs, they're all green. Well, there's one real simple reason for that. I've seen reference photos of P-51 Mustangs where the cockpit's black in the more later versions. Later on in the war, they started painting over the green with black. And so I'm going with that. Okay, so that's in. So a little bit of glue there, and we're in. Seat is in. Next is to put our little radio box on top of this, with D22 as an arch over top of it. So let's get D22. That's this guy here. Okay, so this guy, our radio box, it's got two little nubs that are going to go into those two little holes, and then one in the back right there. So let's just do a little test fit. It's not really wanting to line up. Two at the front, and this box has come loose. It's a bit of a tight fit getting it in there because of the seat, but it's not the end of the world. That was way too much back here. There we go. Okay, let's get this guy back glued back down. I'm going to use this glue instead. Alright, there we go. Radio box in, so that's it right there. And yeah, sorry guys, I know everything all black, it's going to be pretty hard to see in the camera, but yeah, we're getting there. And then this guy, he's got to go on over top like this. I'm not sure, it looks like it's supposed to go in front like that and sit like this. Okay. I can deal with that. I'd say the one drawback to pre-painting everything is that you touch it with the glue and the glue quickly gets rid of the paint. But that's okay, because you can always touch up afterwards. Okay. Alright. So that's done. So next, we have our gyro gun sight. There's a whole bunch of different parts. Basically, once it's all assembled, I got to paint it all black, except for a couple of spots here. They got to be painted gray. But, and we got a piece of photo etch to assemble too. And a decal to put on it after. So, we're going to put this aside and let that all dry. Okay? Our gyro gun sight. We got to get back to our D tree. We want D27. Just going to be this one here. They give you two different ones. 27 and 28, I guess different versions of the plane, but we want 27. We need D20 and D5. Here's 5. And 20. Might as well get 25 and 26 ready. It's these guys here. And that's going to be it. And then I got to get L's, a couple of pieces off the L tree. So clean these up and get these put together. Flip this guy over. This guy has a little notch that puts him this. It's a little bit hard to get him in there. You got big fat fingers, it's a little bit difficult. It just sits in there like that. Okay. And then 20 is going to go into that notch. Like that. I got to clean up. Got to clean them up first. Just make sure, yep, that's where he goes. Just like that. Okay. So these two they're going to go together like this. Okay, that's that. Now, we need to find L13, so I gotta find our L trees. I don't know if L is clear or not. So, first thing I'm gonna do, I'll check for this. No, clear is EE. So, L trees. Okay, finding the L tree is proving to be challenging. So that's W, Z, T, unless Tamiya is doing their thing where they've got two different sprues, two different lettered sprues. This is G. That's my D. R. It's double D. Love the double D. J. H. B. V. Okay, so I can't find L, which means I have to look through the back of the manual to see what L is going to look like. L is this here. That is a clear sprue. L is clear. See, they have EE and L on the same sprue. Thank you, Tamiya. Come on. There. Okay, I want L13 and 14 and 15. It's 4, 4, 5, 18, 16, 15. No, that's 5. 11, 10, 2, 1. Oh wow, it's hard to tell these. This is 14. This is 15. And I need 13. This one guy here. there. So, going back to this guy, 13. Let's just do this. Okay, I have him in the right direction. And he's going to go down into this little slot here. It's kind of unclear. Yeah, he just sits on top. Okay, so it's just going to sit like that on top. So, because of that, let's pull him back out of there. I'm going to scrape a bit of the paint away on the top here. Just to help it out a little bit. It just sits on top just like that. Okay. And we have these two here. They're going to go together. I imagine it's hard for you to see because these are clear parts. So it's probably hard for you to see exactly what I'm doing, especially with my big fingers in comparison to these tiny parts. These two just go back to back like that. That. Yay, thanks. Now where did you fall to? Right there. Okay, so that doesn't happen again, put a little dab of glue here. Just like that. And these two go together like that. Okay. So I'm just going to put them here while that glue dries. Or let it stick to my fingers and then fall on the floor. That's always an option. Dropping your parts on the floor is always an option. Fortunately, it didn't bounce very far. Okay. Now we're back to our photo etch. X18. X18. It's actually... Oh, sorry. Is it not photo etch? It's got to be photo etch. Oh, X18 is the color it's supposed to be. A29 off of our A tree. 29. This guy here. That guy right there. So. All right. Yeah. So I didn't get that nub off of this edge very close at all. So grab my There we go, nice and smooth. I'll do the other side just to be sure. There we go. Alright. Now, I've got to bend each side down, so I like to use my other tweezers for that. Just because they have a nice flat edge on them. And usually you can tell which side they want folded because you'll see the little, kind of a little notch. There we go. There's one side. Second side. All right, we are bent. Okay. So with that bent, we want this going over top of that somehow. They show the back side of it. They show the back of it going over top of this. That direction. And it's just kind of sitting over top of it. So it's a little bit tight, which means I could have bent just a little too much. Of course, you want to be able to glue it down. So yeah. Okay. So to just help me out a little bit here, I'm going to do this. Maybe this. So that I've got something a little bit easier to hold on to. Especially while I get my CA glue. Which is probably still, it's thickening up as it's drying. Hopefully this hasn't stuck. There we go. So there we go. We have our little sight. And that has to go down into here, into this little slot. So let's do a little test fit. Looks like it's going to fit right in here on that particular spot there. So let's scrape away the paint on that. this guy, pick him up however he wants, however way he wants to be. Get him in his little home. There we go. So they do give you a diagram here of how it's all supposed to look when it's all assembled. And that's pretty much what I got going on right there. And this whole little assembly is going to be black. So why they have all these clear pieces, I don't know. Except maybe, you know, this little rectangle in here is supposed to be clear. And the rest of it, it's all black. Doesn't really matter too much. But that's it for this page. This page is now done. Okay? So, let's flip her over and see what we're supposed to do. So this guy now goes into this slot. So, this here slides in right in there. Like that. Okay. So that's fine. We can do that. It's just a matter of making sure it's lined up. There we go. Just like that. Okay. There we go. So we've got that done. Okay. Now we're almost getting there. We're almost done. This has now had lots of time to dry. And you guys might remember my engine here. I did add a couple of things on the engine. I decided let's add a couple of little pipes. Just a couple of little pipe details. Not a lot. I could have done more, but I figured it's just enough. That's enough, right? So, we've got to get, first of all, we got to get our display in there. I did test fit this before, and it is pretty tight of a fit because of the pedals. This has to be kind of put in on a bit of an angle like this so that the pedals will fit over. And you can see I'm getting some resistance there as the pedals hit, right? The pedals are hitting this, the bottom of the pedal here is hitting this edge, right? So you got to kind of pry the pedals forward just a little bit to get them in there. So if I just kind of hold it like this, and I'll take these, there's one pedal forward, there we go, and just like that it fits in. So I'll glue that in. So our instrument cluster is now nicely glued in. Now this guy's got to go on top of there. This notch here and here is going to fit through there, but I got to paint it first, right? Right, that's going to fit in just kind of like this, like that, but I got to paint this all black first before I actually install it. Now as far as the rest of this is where it gets kind of weak, because we've got these big long pegs on here, and they go to these tiny little nubs here, here, and here. That's not a very secure thing at all as far as keeping this all together. It's really not very nice. I'm tempted to actually undo the screw here that's holding this on and glue it on its own without the weight of the engine. I think I'm going to do that actually, because I can put this screw back in anytime I want. So where's my little screwdriver here? I can do this. I can reinstall this screw anytime. Right? Because that's all that holds it on, right? It's just one screw. So this can, I can glue this in all on its own without worrying the engine. See, even this is being a bit of a pain to put in. There we go. See, just like that. So I want to kind of slather this thing with glue to get a good solid there, and make sure that stays put forever. So there we go. We're gonna let this dry. Okay, put our engine aside. I gotta paint the cowl. While I'm waiting for that, I can move on down to here and we'll get this side done and then we'll call it a day. Okay. Now a lot of these little areas I've already done. I've put the little instrumentations onto the sides, right? I've done this. We're not doing we don't do this one, but we have this one, and that's this little guy here. This guy here is already on there. Moving down here, we've got this little one here. That's right there. Okay. We've put our little hose, the air hose, that's in there. It's right there, going along there, right? We've got these painted in what they should be. Okay, so this is already done. The only thing we haven't done, I know later on there's a decal that has to go on here. I've seen that later on in the build. So let's get this guy installed on the actual wall. Okay, let's get that done. Where is it here? I've already pre-painted both halves of my fuselage, right? Did the chromate and the actual silver parts on both sides there. Okay, that's all pre-done. I did the inside too, even though you probably won't see it. Maybe you might, maybe you won't. I did it just in case. Did a little bit of weathering on the inside here. You can see that's it, the green in behind there. Of course, with the yellow on each side, it kind of makes it look like it's yellow, but it's not. That's green. That's a cockpit green on the other side of the black there. Okay, so this guy, he's going to go in right about here. It's pretty easy to line up. You just match this top little guy, this top rail here with the little notch, and that's exactly where it goes. You can kind of feel it once it gets into its home, where its kind of sweet spot is. Right? Now I've added the wires in, but I've got them going down low enough that it kind of gets where the fuselage is starting to bend away, and so that gives me a nice little spot for the wires to go and fit in behind. And then they kind of get tucked in there. And they are a little bit lost in on the black wall, but that's okay. Right? It's not the end of the world. So we have that done. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in there, and this should stay in its home now. It should be willing to be in its permanent home and be happy. As I say, it should be willing. Doesn't always want to be though. always that bit of curvature that it wants to fight against. But that's alright. It can fight if it wants. It can fight all it wants. It's going to lose the fight. Okay, so I just got to let that glue set now, and it'll be fine. There we go. So we're just going to let that sit, and that's going to be it for today. Okay, I'm going to paint this guy black, and we'll get that installed next time. So yeah, this is where I'm going to leave it for today, guys. The other side of the page, I believe, is starting to get onto, we put the other wall in on the other side. So I'll do that. I'll just do that off camera. It's going to be the exact same as this side, right? It's just a matter of grab this and grab this other piece, put it in there in the exact same way, just like that, and glue it down. That's all it is, right? So, but I'll do that off camera, and yeah, we'll continue for the rest next time. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. And if you feel like it, head over to my Instagram and check out my still pictures that I have on those. And one thing I haven't plugged in a long time is my Twitch channel. You can head over to my Twitch channel. Links down below. You can check me out on Twitch, and you can watch me live. And you can actually talk to me live if you feel like it. And the chat will come up on the side of the screen. And yeah, and we can interact live while I'm doing this. If you've got questions, all that kind of stuff, ask me why I do this. Ask me why I don't do certain things. Yeah, if you feel like it. If you don't, then don't. Whatever, right? The 80% of you guys that are not subscribed, yet you watch my channel, why not hit that subscribe button? Just subscribe, and then you get notified when new videos come up, and you can check them out whenever. Anyway, thanks again, guys, for watching, and thanks for coming out. And yeah, we're going to continue this next time, and we'll finally, hopefully, maybe we'll get both sides put together and moving on. So yeah, so until then, we'll see you all in the next one.